Hey y'all, it's me, Alex. Welcome to episode 1, I guess, of my beauty YouTuber in recovery series. I don't know if that's gonna stay the name or whatever, but yeah, hi, I'm back on the internet. So today I wanted to show y'all all of the makeup that I have actually been getting a significant amount of use out of while I have been away from the beauty YouTube space for, I would say it's been about 3 years since I've started posting regularly, or been posting regularly. I don't know how to be in front of a camera. I'm working on it, I promise. Before we get into that, if this is your first time here, which it very well might be. Hi, my name is Alex. My pronouns are they, them. I am a person who enjoys makeup and crafts and cats and spooky stuff. And I live here in the Appalachian Mountains of Virginia with my lovely partner and all of our menagerie of animals. So if that is something that you are into in any way, shape, or form at all, I hope you'll stick around. So I have kept the majority of my makeup collection that I acquired during my official beauty guru type of days from, let's say that I started back in 2015 and that ran until around 2021. So I guess it's been more like 4 years since I've been sharing regularly on YouTube. I know I had a couple of false starts, but if you're seeing this, it means I have stuff in my backlog that I'm gonna share with y'all. It might not be all beauty related because I contain multitudes. But anyway, I've kept the majority of my collection. However, I haven't necessarily acquired a whole lot of new stuff. Just like when I receive gift cards or I'm running out of something, sometimes I'll try something new in the midst of that. So I wanted to share some of the things that I have really gotten a lot of use out of, things that have wowed me. Now, a lot of this stuff is discontinued because that happens to everything that I love. So that part kind of sucks, but I figure, it's good to be honest about these sorts of things. So without further ado, let's just get started. If that isn't the most beauty guru intro of all time. Okay, so I feel like it's good to start with eyeshadow palettes because I feel like when I was posting videos regularly, those were always the things that I was most excited about. And honestly, yeah, I don't think I've bought any new eyeshadow palettes in 2-3 years at this point. But I still get a lot of use out of the ones that I do have. And I wear eyeshadow pretty much every single time I do makeup. So that's just a fun fact about, my consumption habits right now. So I have about 5 that I use on the most regular basis. I definitely will still dip into a whole bunch of others because I have them and I try not to let all my stuff go to waste. But also when you've acquired as many eyeshadow palettes as I have over the years of doing beauty YouTube, it's kind of impossible to go further than that. So I'm currently working on not decluttering, but making sure everything can get a good rotation. So anyway, the top 5-ish eyeshadow palettes that I've been getting a lot of use out of. Firstly, this is what's on my brows right now, actually, and that is the Melt Mary Jane palette. I think this one's been discontinued because it was a very unpopular release, but I personally really liked it. There's a lot of chunky, glittery types of shades in this, and I personally really like it. I have been leaning a bit more, not fully into neutrals, as you can tell by the everything about my face, but I have learned to enjoy neutrals a lot in the last couple of years, and this and the one other kind of neutrally palette that I'm gonna show y'all have kind of really just done a lot for me. I love a good grungy sort of shade, anything with a fun texture to it. And this really fits my cool tone neutral needs. I also have discovered that as far as eyeshadow looks, I definitely used to be someone who tried to fit an entire rainbow of eyeshadows on my eyes at the same time, and I'll still do that very occasionally, but I like to stick to 1 or 2 shades or do shades all in the same color family, all greens at different depths or something. And I found that Melt's color stories are really good for that. I'm sorry for showing y'all the clutter in the background of my room. That's the thing I'm working on too. I like to do looks that kind of stay in the same color family. I might do something a bit different on my lips, as you can tell by the contrast that I have going on today. Yeah, like I said, Melt has some really good color stories for that sort of thing, if that's what you kind of lean into like I do. And with that, I'll just share the other neutral adjacent palette that I've been really loving. And you can tell because I've actually hit pan on one of the shades, which doesn't have an outfit. That is the Melt Gemini palette. Now I have it in the old packaging, and this one I got before I left the internet. And you can tell Gemini gets a lot of use out of it. Maybe it's my Gemini moon, but I love these sorts of shades too. I love a good green. Even if my hair is not green anymore, I love a good green. It makes me very, very happy. I love all these shades. Bonnie, if I really want to up my eyeliner game, when I'm just doing a black wing, I'll like to put this on top of that. I didn't do that today just because I'm kind of just hanging out here and like not going out, but when I really want to just kick that up a notch, I love adding that on top. Mochi is like one of my favorite shades of chartreusey, icky, gross type green. There's a reason that there was so much hype around this palette, and it's because it was really freaking good. I feel like if I were to buy another eyeshadow palette right now, it would be, I don't know if I'd want to go for the Rust palette or the Gemini 2 palette from Melt. But if I were to actually want to spend my money on anything right now, which I don't, I have a plethora of eyeshadows, so I really don't need any more. That would kind of be what that's on. You can tell that this is very, very, very well loved. The only shade I probably don't use quite as much is Luna, but that's just because it really kind of blends into my skin tone. And I understand the value that other people have in transition shades, but for me, that's just one extra step when I could just blend a little bit more. So yeah, Melt Gemini still, this palette's still got it going on. So you can kind of tell from the look that I have going on my face right now is that I love a pastel eye with like a grungy dark lip. And I've been doing this in a couple of different ways. I've been using this blue. I also love a lavender. I think maybe sometime this week, if I can find one of my other pastel palettes that I haven't really picked up, I might try like a mint green. I think that would be really fun. But anyway, one of those like lighter shadows comes from the Nabla Dreamy 2 palette, which you can get a lot of like darker, grungier types of things. But I love using Mirabilia as just like, I'll put in a little bit of a transition shade. Usually the shade I use is my bronzer, and then just put this all over the lid, do this wing liner, and then use the same shade of lipstick. And I feel like that is just such a fun look. This palette is super easy to use, especially if you like sort of like shiny, grungy, one shadow types of looks. I don't really use it for anything other than the shimmers. The mattes aren't bad. The mattes are actually good quality, but they're usually not the shades that I want to pair with the shimmers. Usually if I'm doing this, I'm doing a one shadow look. So I just want my transition shade to like, I don't know. I just feel like it pulls it together when I use my bronzer in my crease if I'm doing a one shadow look. I don't know about y'all, but that is definitely how I feel. Yeah, this is a really good palette. I need to dip into some of the golds in this a little bit more. I'm a gold jewelry person, but I'm not really a gold eyeshadow person, so maybe I should explore that. That might be fun. Speaking of the look that I have on my face right now, this is from a definitely discontinued palette, and that is the Lime Crime Venus 2. And I'm really upset because I have come to love Lime Crime and their eyeshadow formula and their lipstick formula a lot over the last few years. So now that they've decided to nix their makeup line, I am bummed. What can you do? I am one person, and they can make whatever crappy business decisions that upset me that they want. This is a shade Filter. I really love all of the shades in this palette. When I don't know what to do with my face, I just bring out this. So I have Filter, and then I also have Fly that I put by itself on the inner corner, and then I like blended that over top the lid. When I don't want to like do too much to my eyes, that's kind of what I'll do. Or I'll do the same thing with like Mustard or with Marsh or with any of the matte shades really. And I think adding Fly both as like an inner corner highlight and as a topper is a really, really easy way to just kind of make this work. It has that same like blue-brown pigment that everyone was lusting over in like the mid-2000s. And I still really love that shade just because I feel like it's super flattering on like my coloring and stuff. Am I gonna say this is my favorite eyeshadow palette of them all? It's between this and Gemini. I don't know which one wins out, but there you go. And last eyeshadow palette, again, is a discontinued one because the brand I don't think exists anymore, and that is the Colored Rain Vivid Pigments palette. Now, I kind of talked about doing like one color types of looks, and I really love this palette for this. I did use it to do my Pride makeup, which is I did like a little rainbow under eye type of situation, and I think that worked out really well for that. It looks super pretty, but I also love just like doing, you know, pairing the two greens together, pairing, you know, two of the blue shades together and just doing that. I think that can be super fun and flattering as well. Or if I like take one of the colorful shades, do a colorful crease and blend out, and then just do some matte black all over like the lid and lower lash line and just use that as like a transitional shade. I think that can really elevate a fun like all black eyeshadow look. So this one is just really fun. Again, I understand that like not every brand is gonna survive, but this one I am really legit sad that this doesn't exist anymore. Okay, so those are the major eyeshadow things that I've been using. As far as my eye primer, my favorite one did get discontinued, and that was the NYX HD eyeshadow primer. I think they've released a new version of it somehow, but I have not tried it because I don't quite trust it, if I'm honest, because they got rid of my favorite eyeshadow primer that was literally a perfect dupe for the Urban Decay. I'm salty. But I've been using the Milani Stay Put eyeshadow primer, and I think as I've gotten older, my lids have been a bit less oily. So this works. It didn't used to when I first started getting into eye makeup, but that's just because I was like 19 when I started my YouTube channel, and I'm 29 now. So I have a very different skin chemistry than I did back then. So this, maybe it's a nostalgia in my brain. It doesn't quite fit the NYX HD eyeshadow primer or anything like that, but it does a job. I've kind of come to a place of realization that sometimes you just need something more utilitarian rather than something absolutely freaking mind-blowing. So, and that's where I'm at on that. Okay, let's talk about face stuff. I have a couple of like base products that I've just been using. One of them is to use up. The other two are because I kind of like them. The one I'm using up is just my ColourPop Pretty Fresh tinted moisturizer. I don't even know if ColourPop makes this anymore. I have not paid attention to ColourPop in any way, shape, or form recently. They do too much and then collaborated with the author that must not be named. I'm using this to use it up. It is an extremely okay product. I don't have anything like glowing to say about it, but it does the job of a tinted moisturizer. But that's going back into hibernation until winter because that is definitely not my summer shade. The things that are my summer shade though, what I'm wearing right now, which is the e.l.f. Halo Glow Liquid Filter in combination with the translucent setting powder. I really like it. I have mixed feelings on e.l.f. as a company for a lot of reasons, largely due to the company that owns them and all of the atrocities that they're funding. But I have been getting some good use out of this. I do find that I have to use a setting powder with it, otherwise it becomes way too glowy for my face. And it is not something that I wear to work. Because I work in a kitchen and it's very shiny. So I need to not be sweating when I'm wearing that. But just like for my day-to-day, it's pretty good. What I like to wear for work is the Lip Bar Just a Tint 3-in-1 Tinted Skin Conditioner. I've had this for a while. I have this in the shade My Fair Lady, which is like the second from the lightest shade. It does oxidize a tiny bit and I need to put a little bit of like bronzer on my neck or whatever to make it match. But I'm about to need to reorder this anyway from the Lip Bar website, not from Target, because screw you, Target. But this is really nice. This definitely has more of like a satiny type of finish, which I like because as much as I love a glowy face, I do have a lot of like glowy cheek products that I really enjoy using, and I feel like sometimes with the e.l.f. Halo Glow, I need to just really focus on using matte face products. Otherwise, I will be able to be seen from space and not in a fun and flattering way. I like it because also like as you apply it, it kind of goes on sheer, but then it develops a little bit more coverage as you just like let it sit on your face, and that's really nice. And I find that it wears really well and I don't have to like put a lot of setting stuff on afterwards. I'm not someone who particularly cares all of that much about face products as anything more than a utilitarian, putting everything else together type of a thing. So if you're looking for someone who does like the matte full coverage, has to stay all day, that's not my type of vibe. I prefer something that like it has like a natural finish, and when it fades, because makeup inevitably will, I prefer it to just like fade naturally on my face, and I find that this product really does that for me. So speaking of glowy stuff, I'm gonna talk highlighters a little bit. So the two highlighters that I've been mainly using, I don't have either on my face right now because of a different product that I used, but the two main highlighters that I tend to use are the Milk Makeup Flex Highlighter in Iced, which is kind of a champagne-y type of shade, And then the Melt Cosmetics highlight in Morningstar, which this, you can't quite tell from the pan, but this has a more like pink finish. And I just fully stuck my finger in there and it's under my nail now. That's fun. I'm gonna have shiny under fingernails. This one is probably my favorite of the two just because I love anything with a little bit of a pinky peachy highlight on my face. I don't do bold blush or face products because I have so much redness in my skin naturally that a lot of the unnatural highlight colors or like bold blushes and stuff just kind of are either unflattering or make me look like I have a fever, and not in like, you know, the cute e-girl type of a way. It's cute on other people, it doesn't work for me, and that's okay. But I like this. I just kind of go back and forth between them depending on like what, like if I'm doing something more like warm toned or cool toned on my face, but these are both really, really good. I like them because they're both like shiny, but a little bit more on the subdued side. Well, this one is a little bit less subdued than the Melt, but you know, they both do the job and finish the face in a really nice way. As for the glowy product on my face today, this one's a deep cut, y'all. This is the Wet n Wild Color Icon Baked Blush in Hummingbird Hype. This came out, I think, when I was in seminary, so it had to be like 2017, 2018. But I'm wearing this as a blush topper today. You can kind of see the gold shift there, and I really, really love it. Sometimes I'll wear it as a blush shade on its own, but today I felt like with the rest of this makeup look, it would work really well as a topper. I'm topping this Creature blush from Ione Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Sea Rose. It's like a sea monster one. I got it from the Dollar Tree and I really, really love it. It's extremely pigmented though, which I'm not quite super used to. But I really enjoy both of these. I think they're really fun. I don't think you can get either of them anymore, which is a bummer. You know, I'm really happy that even though like I kind of got both on a whim, I've been getting a lot of use out of it. As for something that you can get that I've been getting a lot of use out of, it is this Milani Baked Blush in Berry Amore. This is just like a very natural glowy pink shade that like when I just kind of feel like, okay, I have all the rest of my makeup on, but my face is looking a little bit one-dimensional. This is really good for that. Like plop this on with a little bit of bronzer, a little bit of highlight, and you're good to go. It's not anything, you know, again, like with most of my face products, it's not anything that you need to like, that you're gonna write home about. They are like, oh my God, this is the coolest thing ever. But it does the job and it pulls everything together really nicely, and it's very user-friendly. I don't need to work too hard on controlling the pigment or anything like that. It just goes on really nice. It has a nice clay finish. It looks natural on my skin, and it allows me to focus on the parts of my makeup that I actually care about, which are usually eyeshadow and lipstick. Bronzer, just my Fenty Beauty Sunstalker bronzer in Shady Biz. That's it. Again, this falls into the category of face products that I don't actually care all that much about, in that like, it is good, I own it, it does the job. I also like, I can't find, there it is. I like the bronzer from the Noon palette from Midas Cosmetics and Neon MUA. I actually like all of the shades except for the contour. There's nothing wrong with the contour, but I don't really contour my face. All of the shades out of this are really nice too, but you can't get it anymore, which is really sad. But these are really good too. I've been using that a lot. And I also forgot to mention, as far as eyeliner goes, I still use my NYX Epic Ink Liner almost every day. I definitely use it every single time I do my makeup, and I like doing, you know, the little double cat eye wing type of a situation. I think it just finishes off any eye look that I've been doing, you know, just really, really nicely. So this one still does the job. It gets the job done, and that's good. I find it really awesome to still have a product that after all that time, I'm still raving about. Now for the other end of this, lipstick. So as we all know by the beginning of this video, Lime Crime doesn't make makeup products anymore, which is sad because I've been using almost nothing but their liquid lipsticks. My top 3 shades are Sasha, Cindy, and Black Velvet. Cindy and Black Velvet, I still have a decent amount in there. Sasha, I'm running out of, and if anyone wants to give me a dupe for this, please let me know, because this is my perfect, like, My Lips But Better type of a shade. This, over the years, has been my go-to for, like, if I don't know what to do, like, with my lips to match the rest of my face, I always go for this, and it always works out. So, like, that puts me in a weird place, because Cindy is really nice, but it's definitely a little bit darker, a little bit bolder than Sasha. You can see by the difference there. I don't know if my lighting quite does that for you, but you can tell. And I was like looking at Ulta, I looked at the KVD, whatever their new version of Lolita is, because I did enjoy the KVD Lolita back before we learned all of the terrible things about Kat Von D. And I was a big Lolita and Lolita 2 fan. But those are a touch darker than what I'm actually looking for. I might still go pick those up eventually, again, if I get like an Ulta gift card or something. It's not giving any money to a terrible person with a terrible partner. So like, I don't care quite as much, but it won't fulfill the need that, it won't fulfill the void that Sasha is leaving in me. The closest one that I've kind of come to from my own collection, I have this Milani liquid lipstick in the shade Loved, which it does a similar function, but the colors on the lips, Milani is a little bit more warm peachy toned, whereas this one is a little bit more rosy. So if anyone has any ideas of what I could be using instead, let me know. Okay, so I did make one attempt to break out of the 2015 liquid lipstick sphere. Honestly, I fully respect that everyone else has gone in the more glossy direction, and like, that is fine, you do you. But I think I'm always still gonna be a comfy liquid lipstick girly, gender neutrally. So I did make one attempt, and these are the e.l.f. glossy lip stains. And I go back and forth on whether I actually like these or not. I like them enough to get like 3 shades after I tried the first one, but they were also only like $6, so I didn't care as much. The one, I'm trying to find my favorite here. It's this one. The one I like the most and I've gotten the most use out of is Cinnamon Dreams, which I've almost used up. That is my one problem, is that there's not a lot of product in these. So Cinnamon Dreams is really pretty. I also have it in Power Mauve and Berry Queen. And I do like them, but the problem is I think they become really addictive and then kind of suck a little bit. So I have to remember that I should really only use them one day at a time. Why do I say this? Well, it goes on like really nice and hydrating onto your lips, and then it does dry down into a stain, which I find works really well like the first day, but then I get lulled into a sense of security of like, I should just keep reapplying this and I should wear this shade every single day. Or since I have multiple shades, I could wear this every single day. And eventually when I go through that cycle enough of having the nice like glossiness and hydratingness dry down to a stain, my lips get really dry and just feel really weird from a sensory perspective. And then the glossiness afterwards starts to feel almost like peely, like when you eat too many Warheads over the course of a couple of days and the insides of your cheeks start peeling. Is that a really specific experience I had in my childhood, where I had one summer where I got really addicted to Warheads to the point where my dentist had to tell me to stop because I was actively harming the inside of my mouth? Yes, but that is the only way I can really describe it. So I do like them, but I need to remember to use them sparingly. And then last but certainly not least, because this is probably my favorite new to me beauty discovery, is what I'm wearing on my lips today. And I'm kind of bummed / wanting to spend all my disposable income getting this in every shade ever, because just like everything else I love, it's getting what? Discontinued. And that is the About Face matte painted lip color in Grunge Guru. I love pairing this one specifically with a pastel eyeshadow, and I think it is so lovely. I love this shade. It is half off at Ulta right now. All of them are, because I think they're going away, which once again, I get that I am far behind and still enjoying matte liquid lipsticks, but I like what I like, and I am a human of habit. So I'm gonna keep using this. So I'm probably gonna need to stock up on this real soon, or else my neurodivergent ass is going to be very sad. So yeah, this is just super comfy. I find the applicator, let me just show y'all the applicator, is very easy. It's not like a giant wand or anything. I find that it fits my lip shape really well. It's very comfy to wear. It doesn't get quite like, you know, the crusty inner lip that some liquid lipsticks do when you like eat and stuff in it. It still fades, but it fades nicer than that, which I appreciate. And I also just really enjoy all of like the packaging of About Face and Halsey's makeup brand. I don't own a lot from them, but the stuff that I do have, I think they've curated their aesthetic really nicely. So yeah, I like that. Okay, I've been talking for almost a half hour and I do have like other obligations in my day. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I can't guarantee they'll all be like this, but my creative juices have been flowing and I've been wanting to put up more videos, so that's fun. Okay. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in my next one. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Bye.